record.
Good morning!
Good morning! Welcome!
Hold on 1 second. I gotta plug in this new microphone.
It is.
Hopefully it'll switch.
We don't know how to count. And
Can you guys
yesterday
hear?
was day 0.
Can you hear us okay?
Woo! Beautiful sunrise.
So, yeah, yesterday's grounding day. Today is day 1 of the challenge. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I'm trying for these toes.
Okay, grab your chair. How you guys doing today?
Grab your chair. What if we talk? What if we talk like that?
I don't know if anybody would stay for the whole challenge if we talk like that. Okay, guys. I want to know, how early is it where you are? Where are you and how early is it?
I just had a feeling that.
Are you enjoying a sunrise right now, or is it nighttime where you are?
9 a.m., 10 a.m., 7 a.m. for Michelle.
All right.
7 a.m. Who is the earliest here?
Oh, James Kagan. Clara. Oh, no, that's 4 p.m. Okay. Not bad, guys.
I had a feeling Jamie would
pretty
be
good
like,
timing. Pretty good
I'm
timing.
up and ready.
Jamie Skagen's in Hawaii, so actually she would have been if she's here on the webinar today.
Yeah.
You guys are in Hawaii, so you guys win the prize. Congratulations.
Ashley Shubin awake?
I don't know.
Somebody call Ashley Shubin. Wake up.
All right, guys.
Your life is calling.
Who do we have hopping on today? We're going to read out some names because that's our favorite thing to do.
Hopping on. Go straight to the J's. This is a little rundown of the Duggars.
Well, you're our pretend Duggars, you guys. We got
Jamie and Jane and Jamie and Jen and Jessica and Jesus.
That's it. Those are all the J's today. But we also have Clara, Alyssa, Annika, Ashley, Barbara, Billy, Sue, Candace,
Cortland, Debbie, Annika, Barbara,
Cindy, Claire, Claudia, Cortland, Debbie, Denise, Emily, Grace,
Aaron,
Gregory, Guida, Jamie, Jane, Jessica,
Catherine,
Jesus, Catherine, Kim, Kirsten,
Lauren,
Krista,
Lee,
Lauren,
Lisa, Melanie, Natalie,
Mark, Megan, Melanie,
Paul,
Miranda,
Sarah,
Paul,
Virginia, Ian,
Trina,
Dan,
Virginia,
Susan.
hi guys. Welcome. Hi, Tony Ricky. Susan Bending. Oh my God. Wow. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
We're so glad you're
Good
here.
morning.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who is ready for today? Who's ready to dive in? Thank you. Thank you, Carissa.
How's your evening? How was day 0 of the challenge? What's going on for you guys?
Yes, we'd love to know, how was T-shirt Inception? How did you enjoy that challenge? Yeah, and I mean, we're going to talk about a lot today, but let's go ahead and we'll just check in about a couple things. So how is T-shirt Inception, and how and who has thought about their Patronus? Yeah, we're definitely not done. That's okay.
That's okay.
That's all right.
You guys are pretty far ahead.
Yeah, you guys are doing pretty good. Sometimes it takes a few days to get everybody in on the T-shirt Inception. So
Sometimes
don't worry if it's not done yet. I don't think we have a winner yet. Unless, did anybody's group complete the entire Inception? I'd love to know.
Has anybody been up all night? Destined to win an iPad?
Destined to win an iPad. Ooh, we got a Dragon Patronus. Sloth. I resisted it at first. I love that. Nothing came up in meditation. That's okay, sir. That happens too.
It'll come.
It'll come when it's meant to come. It'll most likely come like, you're out walking today and a hawk like swoops down and you're like, oh, hey, there it is. Something along those lines is how it usually happens. So my guidance to you would be to actually just request the sign, request your Patronus in your meditation if it's not coming to you, and it will show up. Oh, your thought was like a montage of good moments.
That's great,
Catherine.
So yeah. Alana says, I just watched the webinar last night. Can I still join the Inception?
Yeah.
Yeah,
your team's waiting for you.
Most likely, if you're just catching on, your team is waiting for you. Yep. So hop on.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so Alana, you have requested join the Facebook group. I will make sure that request is approved for you as soon as possible. And then your group will be on there waiting for you. You will find it in one of the announced posts.
What's that?
I don't know. Ryan made smoothies for us this morning.
Pineapple.
We've got mystery things in them. All right. So guys, just a couple quick things for those of you who weren't able to make it live yesterday, or maybe haven't caught up on the replay yet. There's one thing you need to know. If you have a question, the answer to your question is most likely, where is it? People who were live yesterday, where is the answer to the question?
Pin post, announcements, pin post, announcements, pin post.
Good job.
Dolphin.
All right. So it used to be called the pin post. I don't think it's even called that anymore.
Oh,
but
look
it says, this is
look
the
at
pin
that sunlight
post.
coming in on our face.
So
we're
cool,
like
right?
angels.
So at the top of the Facebook page, there is a post that said, this is the pin post. It's an announcement. And in that post, we update it every day. We update it multiple times a day. You will find the links to all the webinars. You will find the replays to all the webinars. You will find all the information about all the prizes with pictures. You'll find how to win those prizes. You will find the emails. If you have a question that is not answered in the pin post, you will find the email of the person to ask. If you guys Facebook messages, we will most likely not be able to respond. We love you guys, but there's like 250 of you. So we just can't respond to all your messages. And so that's why we have Nicole, the wizard, NICHOLE at thelittlvolcano.com. Nicole can answer all the questions that are not answered in the pinned post. So just so you know, if you have any questions, that's where you look first. And then Nicole, and then thirdly would be ask your coach or ask your miracle group.
So the other thing is, if you guys are feeling behind, just to let you know, it's only day one. You're not behind. Mm-hmm. All you have to do is watch the webinar, do the work, get caught up. We give you a break from like Wednesday until Saturday to get caught up, because we know that you have lives. Mm-hmm. And we totally understand that. We have lives too. And you get a little bit of time to just integrate this and catch up and get on board. We want everyone to be successful. Oh, Susan Benning says, I don't have a life.
She doesn't have a life. Okay, well, cool.
So that's why you're on a challenge that you said yesterday sucked. This challenge sucks. I love it.
Cool. All right. So we're going to get some shares from you guys in just a minute, but we'll pull up the slides first so that you can see them and follow along. So let me go ahead and pull that up.
Jesus says, please, you guys have a new life coming. Congrats.
Aw, thanks, Jesus. That's really sweet. Here we go. Get your shit together, challenge. And
oh, look at that slide. It's beautiful.
Guys, do you notice anything different from yesterday's fonts to today's? Do you see this?
You kind of gave it away when you said yesterday's fonts to today's. You said
the fonts! The fonts are here. Yay! I figured it out. So look at that font. Isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful.
Who would like to hop on and share the Patronus story? How you found your Patronus, what your Patronus is. So all you have to do that is actually just raise your hand. And if your hand is raised, I will call on you. All right. So I would love to hear from Catherine. Oops. Sorry, Catherine. 1 second. My bad. I need to open you up on this computer here. So just 1 sec. All right. We're going to bring you on. So I'm trying to unmute you right now, and you might have to unmute yourself on your end as well.
So
there we go.
Oh,
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. I'm glad I can't see myself right now because I would be freaking out. Morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Cool. So I did the little Patronus work as part of this morning's kind of general morning meditation.
Cool.
And I didn't have a particular codified like start to finish thought, but it was all of there was like snapshot feelings that I get when I'm performing in a particular context.
Mm.
So like specifically when I'm doing the motion capture projects and just kind of that in the moment of creation and in the moment of working with really good people and all of that artistic wonder. And so a couple different moments kept popping up, as well as an audition I did last December, which was to play a little girl who had been transformed into a mouse.
Interesting.
So then I couldn't get the mouse bit, all the work I did on the mouse out of my head. So
wow.
At first I was kind of resistant to like a mouse. Mouse is like small and not very strong, because I'm all like, my spirit animal, I always thought, or like, I guess the Patronus isn't necessarily a spirit animal, but like, I was thinking like I would have a stronger animal, but the little girl and the mouse kept kind of coming back. So I guess it's
I love that.
my Patronus for this is a mouse.
How did you connect to the role of that little girl who transformed into the mouse on a personal level?
I just loved it. It was, I tend to, I play a wide range of characters, but it was a moment where I got to connect to just pure unadulterated joy. Because even though she was in this like dire circumstance of like being transformed into a mouse by evil witches, and we won't get into it, but she still had a really kind of innocent, positive attitude. And it was just really a delight to get to play with all of those things that you fall in love for acting for.
Wow.
Like to be someone completely different, to be in a completely different circumstance, to be in a completely different body. And it was just so, the whole process of that audition was just so playful. And that was really, it was really nice to reconnect to that. And I'm still kind of emotional about it because I loved that moment so much. And I found an old picture of me from like Halloween from when I was like 5 or 6. And I was playing a mouse for my Halloween costume.
Cool. So it sounds like your little kid self got a chance to come out and express herself through that mouse.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's powerful.
It's like you've almost already done this before. I love that. You've done this. Like
what
you take the energy of this joy and this innocence in this play, and you've already imbibed it into your life through this role, through this audition that you had. I'm so curious, Catherine, when you were working with her as that character, how did that change your life in the moment?
In the moment, it just kind of felt, it was just a reconnection to the work and the joy I feel doing the work. And I just had energy, for the time that I was working on it. I almost didn't want to submit the audition because I just didn't want that dream of what if I got this role, and what if I could just get a chance to really do this. Like I didn't really want that dream to end. So I just it was just nice to have all my focus on and go all out on bringing that really high high quality of joy and focus and skill and just all of the things together. So.
Yeah, that's so cool. Well, I love that you get to bring it back with this challenge.
Yeah. And
it was like super amazing share.
I also, we went to teacher training together for those of you guys on the call. Yeah, back in 2013. So can you believe that?
That was our honeymoon.
That was our honeymoon, basically. Yes. Yeah. So 6.5 years. I mean, that's crazy. It's been so long. But what I remember about you back then and your presence with your voice and your expression and your body, the way you move your body, it is very fierce and very powerful. And you bring that power. So I definitely connect to that desire to want to have a Patronus that is like a falcon or a lion or something really like, rah! But it's like actually sometimes the medicine that we need the most is the opposite of what we present to the world, right? That mouse energy, that playfulness, that tiny sweetness is like something that your little kid was wanting to connect to. So that's just so cool. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. All right. So I think it's a good time to move on with the webinar, right?
Yeah, I think so, because we have an issue with time sometimes.
Yeah, apologies
if we notice
yesterday.
We're catching up on time, then we will bring some more shares in.
Yes, absolutely.
So yesterday was day 0, and we gave you that exercise that we just talked about, the Patronus, to combat all the thoughts that hold you back from going after what you want, from connecting with others, and getting over the thoughts in your head that habitually hold you back. Called your Patronus spell. You anchored into a good feeling memory, or maybe multiple good feeling memories, and you practice summoning those feelings back, just like Catherine was just talking about, like reconnecting with that joy and that play and that innocence and just that like young, youthful, childlike awakening for life. And whatever it was for you, whatever's important for you to reconnect to, it's totally valid. Everybody probably has something unique. And so you practice summoning those feelings. And then you got an opportunity to leverage it in t-shirt inception. So when we gave you this teacher inception challenge, it was to fuck with you a little bit. Because we wanted to give you a real opportunity to get frustrated and change. To get like annoyed and change. It
was all intentional, guys.
Who put that together? Who realized, they're
testing me.
This is a test. I get to do this.
Yeah. Awesome.
What is my habitual like negative emotional state?
What comes out of my cup when I'm feeling rattled?
Do I just push everybody away? Do I like do the work real quick and then bounce? Do I come in and control every aspect of this and try to make it perfect? Do I panic the moment something is not working out perfectly and then freak out? Like, so those are the moments where you get to go like, boom, expecto patronum. I get to connect to my joy and my innocence and play, and however this turns out, I can just enjoy it.
Yeah, Holly said I was wanting to quit. Cortland said, damn, well, I fell back into letting others lead.
Yeah, so here's what we do at the Little Volcano.
Debbie, I so tried to control.
As soon as you see this stuff, instead of feeling shame, you go, yeah,
celebrate yourself.
You celebrate yourself, and we celebrate you, because if this lived in shame, you would keep hiding it and keep doing it. But the moment you can celebrate seeing it, all of a sudden your reticular activating system, your subconscious, all these like parts of your brain that don't see things, because you're celebrating it and you're making a win, all of a sudden you get to see it more and you get to work on it more and you get to transform faster. Y'all get that?
You get to reprogram the habitual way you either celebrate yourself or shame yourself in little ways every single day by intentionally doing this exercise. Does that make sense? And I also want to know, if you're triggered, you're winning. Congratulations. If you didn't get triggered.
Like, yes, I'm triggered and I'm going to work through this.
If you didn't get triggered, that's great too. So I want to know how many of you guys got the T-shirt Inception Challenge and you're like, this is fun. This is cool. I like this. That's okay too.
Yeah.
I was stoked. Cool, Carissa. And Catherine, if you're not triggered, yeah. It's funny because I know that if I were doing this challenge and that was assigned to me, I'd be like, oh my God, this is so fun. I can't wait. This is great. Yeah, it's easy to feel confused. Yeah, your group jumped on it, just rolled with it. Don't know what to do at first, still not sure. That's great. Reagan said, I did not like it on my first challenge. Yeah, great, guys.
Now you're here on the third.
So here is your opportunity. Here's your opportunity to shift and change that pattern and just start paying attention to the habitual reactions, the habitual emotions that come up when you feel triggered. This is just a microcosm of the rest of your life.
Of a macrocosm.
And what could be different with the rest of your life if you got to choose how you reacted when you were triggered.
Now here's a cool thing.
What could change for you?
I see Jessica Stout writing, and a lot of you writing, got triggered, wanted to run and hide. So here's a beautiful thing about this challenge. These are people on the internet. You can choose not to see them again a week from now. So the cool thing about that is you get to try something completely different that wouldn't be normal for you. And if it doesn't work, you're like, whew, glad I don't have to see those people again.
Yeah.
That was a part of me I don't ever want to come out. But if you do go all in and you do try something different, you might surprise yourself.
Yeah. You get to choose. This is your playground right now. This is not real life. This challenge is just like a test run for real life, right? This is like where you get to try new things. It's where you get to experiment, put yourself out there, and really see what happens for you when you change your habitual ways.
Yes. Yeah, and all of you who are like writing about your habitual ways in the chat box, I see you. I see you all like owning your feelings and owning what you did, and that is so powerful.
Afraid of having too much enthusiasm. That has definitely been like a chronic thing in my life too. Is everyone's like, simmer down. You're a little too loud. Your mouth is a little too big. Like you're a little too pink and sparkly. Like you need to calm down. You need to make yourself smaller.
But that's the thing, is that it's actually very vulnerable to be the biggest, brightest, shiniest leader in the room.
Yeah.
So if y'all are afraid to be the leader, to be bright, to be big, it's because we've been conditioned to dim that part of ourselves. And it's no wonder that a lot of you are afraid or have resistance to doing this because, like, it's like because of our conditioning. So I love that you're seeing this in yourselves. It's just amazing.
Yeah. Cool. So you guys ready to hop into the sweet spot of the challenge this morning? We're going to learn some new stuff today. You ready? So today is when we get the ball rolling and you start to take action on your desires. After today, it's going to be impossible to not immediately create changes in your life.
However, before you take action, there has to be some clearing of the cobwebs. So how many of you have in your life at some point been caught in a cycle of inaction?
The work we do today will free you up from the weight that has been holding you down and holding you back from action.
However, you can't let go of something that you didn't know you were carrying. So this is why I love all of this awareness, because you're going to be able to spot it and let go of it. The only way for you to fully understand you're carrying something that is not serving you is for it to get heavier.
Or for it to get hotter.
Because you're all so advanced. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. Do we have permission to turn up the heat?
We have permission, guys? May we turn the heat up a little bit on you? Are you going to go all in? Are you going to stick with us even when it gets hot?
I know this is just,
all right.
This is just day one, but I want to just boom, laser in with you, and I think you're all ready for it.
Awesome.
Will you promise?
Heat my buns.
Will you all promise to stick with us even if this process gets hard? Even if you're like, oh, fuck this shit, I'm leaving. You're just like, I'm sticking with it.
Awesome.
And you'll go all in, yeah?
Thank you. Yay. Awesome. They're all in. All right. So it's time to read the card for today. Today's card is Unbound.
And when we pulled this card, and just like to give you a like understanding what these cards are a tool for you to connect to your inner wisdom and your inner guidance that's already there. It's not about like outside entities or outside forces. It's about you reconnecting with you and getting guidance from you. And we always set intention to, like, nothing benevolent comes in. I know some people could feel a little weird about cars. Malevolent. Nothing malevolent comes in. It's all like positive energy.
Benevolent.
Loving energy. It's all to serve everybody's highest good.
Yeah. Yeah. So we got a couple comments yesterday about, tarot cards are against my faith, my religion. These aren't tarot cards, guys. They're essentially just cards that give you a little bit of inspiration to connect to your inner wisdom. That's how we see it. So hopefully that resonates with you. Okay. But I'm going to read the card for today.
If it doesn't, oh well. A lot of people love it.
We do.
Yeah, we're here to trigger you. Yeah.
Today's card is about releasing soul patterns, contracts, and past lives. It's time to release old soul stories that have been playing out in your life. They're coming up right now to be healed.
There has never been a safer time to clear these patterns than right now.
Take a look at patterns in your life that you are ready to release. Ancient vows and contracts that your soul made that have an expiry date. It could be a vow of silence or chastity or poverty. It is time to unwind from them. This is the life in which you free yourself from trauma of past lives.
The old ways of being have an expiration date. When you name them, like you're all doing right now, you claim them and they stop holding power over you. When you acknowledge these old patterns, it is important to acknowledge how they have served you up until now. For example, a soul pattern of playing small caused by the fear of being seen or sharing your voice would have served you by keeping you safe. In order to grow, you need to, actually, I'm going to say that again. For example, a soul pattern of playing small caused by fear of being seen or sharing your voice would have served you by keeping you safe. Who's like, shit, that's me. In order to grow, you now need to soften by receiving and calling in support. It's time to unbind from old ways of being that are no longer sustainable.
So the work your light activation for this card is this. I release all old soul stories, vows, contracts, and patterns that no longer align with who I came here to be in this present time. I carry the lessons, growth, and gifts, but I no longer choose to live in the same story. May I be unbound, forever unbound.
Wow, this is amazing.
Who has chills?
I do. I'm just going to share a little off the script here. Last weekend, we went to Abraham Hicks. And if you don't know who Abraham Hicks is, YouTube that stuff. It totally changed my life, both of our lives. And she said to me, you don't need to carry forth the energy and the emotion of your old stories to connect to people. And today is the day that I share my past. I share some of my old stories. And I was just like, well, how do I share my old story and still be released and unbound? And it's that I don't have to carry it, like, I don't have to choose the same story. And to me, choosing the same story would be choosing to feel shame and pain, the shame and pain of it. I can be released and not live it anymore in my daily life. Living it means actually experiencing it, reactivating it, experience it, reactivating it. So today, I've been meditating on this. How do I tell my story without reactivating it? It's just not going into the pain of it. So when I share my story with you guys, it's going to be a little different than last time. I'm not going to let myself get all wrapped up in the pain of it. I'm going to get wrapped up in the freedom of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to lead you guys into that same place of being able to get wrapped up in the freedom and the lessons and the gifts that your old stories have brought you.
So here at the Little Volcano, we believe that every single one of you is brought to this challenge for a reason. There are no accidents. Everything has divine order, and we get to choose whether we recognize it or not. You might know why you're here, but you might not know why you're here yet, but you're here for a reason. How many of you are already getting that feeling like something big is brewing for you? How many of you feel like there's a deeper purpose you're here to live?
Yes.
But you're afraid to take that step because it means risking failure, judgment, or you're just afraid of the unknown? And you have habits that keep you small and hold you back from claiming who you're here to be.
Who's already noticing these things and that are getting in the way of stepping into your power and into your purpose?
Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, before you let go of these things, they might get louder or hotter so you can see them. So if day zero, the grounding day sucked, if you're behind, if you're not having success, you're also on the right path.
Yeah, so this concept of it getting louder and hotter so that you can see them. When we talked on day zero about a miracle being kind of a catastrophe, that is the shit in your life, the patterns in your life getting louder so that you can see them. Mm-hmm. And that's actually something that serves you massively, because it's oftentimes it's that is the impetus for change.
Yes. Yeah. So in just a second, you guys, Kit is going to share the story that we just talked about. And so it is a pretty vulnerable story. And like Kit said, he's not going to be focusing on the pain of the story, but rather the miracles behind the story. But what I want everyone to do right now is just to breathe really deeply.
You know, the interesting thing that was happening about this story is last year is when last January is when we plugged this story into our challenge. And one of the things that happened is I started to struggle a little bit more with my depression last year. And I linked it and I realized it's because of, you know, reactivating the pain through telling it. And so this is meant to activate some emotions originally, but you know, I'm just going to see what happens the way I tell it. We'll just see what comes through. There's a new evolution of me wanting to come through, and we'll see what happens, guys.
All right. So I'm going to put on a little bit of music. You guys let me know if the music is distracting, okay?
Yeah, I almost want to tell this like as a celebration of my pain, a celebration of my past, gratitude for it.
Okay. Okay.
Can you be on the photos? Quick.
Yeah.
All right. Next photo.
Oh, forgot you're here for a deeper purpose.
Keep going.
Here we go.
All right. So this is me when I was 27. And anyone looking from the outside might think that I had it all. I was the owner of one of the most popular, hip, queer hair salons in Chicago. I created monthly dance parties. I had lines around the building, and our parties were raising money to give back to the community. I was one of the gay mayors of Chicago. But back then I struggled with dark depression. I felt deeply insecure and uncomfortable with who I was. And I felt this constant feeling of heartache because I wanted so desperately to be loved by somebody. I would put everything into the relationships that I was in. And time again, it wouldn't be returned. So I thought that the love of someone else would be the thing that completed me. Who's ever thought that before? All I ever wanted was a soulmate, someone to marry, someone who would be forever in love with me and fill up those holes of emptiness in me. I would desperately throw myself at the feet of beautiful women, and most of them would reject me. Occasionally, every few months, when I wasn't paying attention to how desperate I was, someone would bite, and we would date for a little bit, and I would get my hopes up. And immediately, I would change everything about myself to make it work. Inevitably, in about 2 months, they would dump me because I was just this like fake person becoming someone else to be in a relationship. The cycle went on and on for almost all of my 20s, and every time it would just destroy me. And the cycle finally ran its course when the heat got turned up on me. When the lessons and the signs got louder that like, you can't do this anymore. And so I went against my deeper, wiser knowing of my spirit, and I started dating one of my employees at my shop. I knew before we even started dating that she wasn't right for me. Has anyone ever done that? You start dating somebody and you're like, this isn't right, but you keep doing it. I felt temporary relief from misery because someone was interested in me. So I disregarded all of my wiser thinking. My shadow side was just like, this feels good. And I knew I had this like gut feeling like, it's not right. How many of you can relate to that? Disregarding your wiser thinking for temporary relief. So after 2 weeks of dating in the height of infatuation, I bought us tickets to Turkey for 4 months later. 4 months later. And I thought if I could just hook her past my expiration date, she would love me forever. And it was right after I bought those tickets that the relationship started going south. We were deeply incompatible. She was pretty serious and really like rulesy, and I was like, you know, it's wild and free and weird, and she was not weird, and she definitely like I felt a lot of shame for being who I was when I was with her. And we had to endure it for 4 more months because we had these tickets to Turkey. So we went to Turkey and we traveled all over the country. We saw some of the most beautiful things, and it was fucking miserable. It was horrible. Not only did she not love me, she had a hard time pretending to even like me. She was mean to me. She spoke down to me, and I put up with it because I wanted it to work. I wanted something to work, and I just put so much time and energy and money and I just, just effort into making something work, ignoring that it wasn't right. And after 2 weeks of traveling, we returned home, and I was desperate for love. I couldn't even get someone to like me by taking them all across the world. It was Valentine's Day, and I had a party that I was DJing that night. And my girlfriend at the time, who I just taken to Turkey, she didn't want to come. And, this is like, for me, I just felt so terrible because I'm such a romantic at heart, and just taking this girl across the world, and she's just like, I don't want to come. And that evening, it's wrapping up, and it's late, and the bar is dispersing. When this beautiful girl who, she was a haircutting client of mine, she comes up to me, and she's fucking hammered. She spends about 5 minutes confessing to me that she's in love with me and that she feels a soul connection and that I'm this amazing person, and she's always saw me as something incredible. And she's so drunk that she falls off her chair. And I was hungry for love. So I ignored all the red flags of destruction, of the destruction it could cause in my life. I ignored the fact that she was just totally hammered, and I was just like, she just needed that to get her feelings out. And so I went for it. And I never cheated on anyone, but I'm a hopeless romantic and honest, transparent partner. And, I just love so much. But I was in so much pain that about a week later, as it mounted, I ended up cheating on my girlfriend. And she dumped me, and I completely fell apart. I destroyed my moral code. I destroyed the integrity of my business. I lost the respect of my peers. I had sacrificed every ounce of who I was just to be loved. And I did not exist anymore. I couldn't hear the calling of my spirit within me because I had traded it in for listening to the truth, to my truth, for love and approval of someone else. I stopped eating, and I was depressed, and I was drinking, and I was suicidal. And in the middle of the cold Chicago winter, this was gaining rapid momentum, rapid destructive momentum. And, I see this as a good thing. It was the heat getting turned up, the pain getting more visceral so I could feel it and make a massive change. But I went out drinking one night with my friends, and things went horribly south, as they do when a miserable person starts drinking. I got into a huge argument with my friends and I stormed off. And now it's 1 a.m. and I'm walking down the cold, blustery Chicago street. I'm wrapped up in a scarf and I'm shivering and I'm crying. I'm slipping around on the frozen sidewalks, and I'm in a tunnel vision of despair and pain. So my hair shop, was at the ground level of the tallest building in Chicago. Or not in Chicago, in the neighborhood.
Logan Square.
So my head's hang low to avoid the eye contact of the people leaving the bars. And I take myself up to the rooftop via the elevator. I'm just a fucking mess. A whole lifetime of hating myself is finally getting just hot enough and uncomfortable enough to feel. It's coming to an apex moment. In the past 6 months, I've lost what little respect I had for myself. In my eyes, I'm completely unlovable. I'm sobbing, I'm pacing. I keep seeing all the mistakes I've made in my life over and over and over. I keep saying how I'll never be loved. I didn't see much hope for myself, so I made that decision right there to end my life. And I'm pacing back and forth on the rooftop. I step up to the ledge of this 5-story building, and instead of looking down, I look up, and I'm empty. My eyes catch the dark night sky, and it just makes me pause for a moment. I stop crying and I take a deep breath, and I hear the faintest whisper of my spirit. I was in so much pain that I finally was willing to just turn inwards, almost as a surrender. And it saved my life that night. It put me on the path, doing this work that I'm doing with people now. It put me on the path of finding deep self-love, discovering it reflected back to me in my incredible marriage. And now I'm doing my life's work, coaching, hosting events, writing books, teaching this challenge with all of you here right now, changing the lives of people who are ready to step up fully to the plate and live. And that voice, when I finally surrendered, I heard it say, "But you haven't even lived yet." And I realized in that moment that I'd been living so much to win the love of others that I'd never lived for myself. I was bound by a belief system that said the only way you can love yourself is if it is validated by the love of someone else first. This type of thinking brought me to the end of my rope, and it was my wake-up call. It was that moment when a great decision had to be made, and I had to unbind myself from my horrible patterns and programming that I was finally ready to release. I was about to end my life still waiting for the acceptance of someone else, never having truly lived or loved myself. I stepped away from that ledge with an ultimatum to myself. Instead of jumping off the building, I would leap into the scary unknown of loving myself. I would finally listen to the calling of my spirit instead of doing what I thought others wanted me to do. But I gave myself a deadline. I would go all in 100%. And if after 2 months nothing had changed, I could renegotiate my life. So for the first time in my life, I really truly lived. I did everything I'd ever wanted, even some things that I felt like truly embarrassed to do. I stopped dating. I went to therapy. I read self-help books. Like, I would kind of shamefully hide in the self-help section of Barnes and Nobles. Like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm in here. Now I fucking love this shit. I got psychic readings. I went on a thing called a psychic crawl. I always wanted to do that, but people always kind of judged it. And I was like, no, I've been curious. I stopped spending money on drinking. I stopped hanging out with people who were dicks to me. That was a big one. That was a really big one. I just cut off the friends who were straight mean to me. So 2 months turned into 4. I did yoga. I got energy healing. I started meditating. 4 months turned into 6. I traveled by myself. I biked in the rain. I danced to music in my headphones in the grocery store. I grew a garden and I fed myself from it. I stopped giving a fuck. Rosie was pumped to put this photo in here. I listened to every little nudge of my spirit and I said yes to it. I fell in love with being me for the first time. I filled every single hole inside of myself with self-love, and I developed a deep connection to my purpose for being alive. So I never wish depression or that much pain on anyone, but I see that moment as my gift. Actually, sometimes I do wish a little pain on people because it is such a defining moment. You know, it is such a thing to be grateful for, is when you finally hit that moment of like, fuck, I've got to change. And oftentimes it's that pain that you look back and you get to be so grateful for, that that car accident, that fire, that loss, because that is the moment when everything turns around. So for many people, this wake-up call comes much later in life. It's a heart attack, loss of a child, a divorce, a life-threatening illness. I was 27, and I got lucky that I have a low pain tolerance and that my mistakes brought me to my bottom quickly. So the one thing I took away from being on the edge is that I was not happy because I was not living my life. I had not claimed my purpose. I was letting everyone else lead me, and I didn't know what my gifts were because I was too afraid what other people would judge me about if I stepped into them. That vulnerability of stepping into your greatness, that vulnerability of what other people will think, that held me back from doing it. I had so many habits and patterns that revolved around my fears. And I never stepped into my courage of being my best self. I never prioritized loving myself and being big. It was time for me to unbind from old ways of being that were no longer sustainable. So now I use my pain, I use uncomfortableness as my tool to keep me focused on the call of my spirit. And I don't take it for granted. When I get a little off track, it hurts too much. So now I want to seriously ask you, what patterns in your life are you ready to release in this challenge? Type them in. What are you ready to release? What are you ready to unbind yourself from? Insecurity. Hell yes, Alana. I love that the first person to speak up is the one who's overcoming insecurity. Mm-hmm. Procrastination. Yes. I'm glad you didn't wait till the last person to be the last person to say that. Perfection. Fear of failure.
Putting others first.
Nervousness. Fear.
Not giving
fear of judgment. Fear of judgment. Such a big one for me. Yeah. Being
Staying
sick.
Small. Wow.
Yes. What are you waiting for to follow your heart? Are you waiting till everything gets destroyed so you have no other choice? Are you waiting for a catastrophe disguised as a miracle? Are you waiting till the brink of losing something before you realize its preciousness? Or are you waiting for all these little things to stack up? Or are you just waiting to make a fucking choice? What will force you to make a great decision, to follow the voice inside you that is begging you to focus on what's important? What will force you to let go of what's holding you down? Will it be a catastrophe, or will it be a great decision within you to go for it? The clock is ticking. So everybody take a deep breath. If you just took a breath, it means you're connected to something that is keeping you alive. It means you have a reason to be here. How long can you go on pretending that you are not important enough in this world to do what you want to do? Consider this your cosmic wake-up call. What is at the deepest core of your heart's desire? What are you holding back from? What is your soul calling you to do? Do you need to wait until you have no other choice but to follow it? Or can you just take a leap now? Some of the most successful people are successful because they've hit such a hard rock bottom that they had a serious reason to change. But we want to impress upon you, it doesn't take hitting rock bottom to create an amazing life. It can just take someone like a good coach to give you a glimpse of what rock bottom might look like if nothing changes. Or if you've hit rock bottom and you're coasting again, it can take a really good coach that will help you leverage that experience to light a fire under your ass. Coaching is for people's lives who are functional, but they're not going all in on what they know is possible, and they're letting things hold them back, but they're ready to commit to something more. They want an optimal life. They want a deep, rich, purposeful, expansive, connected, beautiful life. We are coaches, Rosie and I, because a coach changed our life. They helped us see what we were pretending not to know that could have turned into another rock bottom that could have destroyed our marriage and probably would have. When someone changes my life, I don't know if any of you all are like this, but when someone changes my life, I'm the kind of person that wants to be able to do that for others. Mm-hmm. And in fact, when I was cutting hair, I made a commitment to myself that when I found the thing that healed my depression and brought light back into my life, I would commit my life to bringing that to others. And that's why I became a coach. Because a coach dramatically changed my life to the best it's ever been. And that's why I put everything into learning how to be the best coach I can be. And I put everything into creating the best team of coaches on the planet. We want to be upfront with you from day one. At the end of this challenge, we're going to give you an opportunity to continue coaching with us. Our company has fucking grown massively. And we're only accepting 50 people, which sounds so crazy because last year at this time, we were only accepting 18. And now we have room for 50 people. But that's our limit, which is fucking amazing, into our next program. And I have one spot for somebody to work with me in BizCraft and Coachery. You can thank Jamie Skagen for that.
She needs a buddy.
She needs a buddy. I have one spot. So last January, 18 people signed up to work with us from the challenge. So we went a little over our limit. We love that challenge. It was one of the best days of my life. Seeing my gifts that I put so much energy into cultivating paying off, and seeing how the work I put into this is changing people's lives has been one of the biggest, most expansive, profound feelings I've ever gotten to experience. My clients and my team, they're the biggest gift in my life. And if you already know right now that you're ready to commit to changing your life with us in 2019, send us a message here right now. Type in the chat box. It goes really fast. So maybe just send me a Facebook message too. We'll take your name down and we'll put it to the front of the list. I don't know, Cole, if you're watching, will you write these names down?
With the chat is saved.
The chat is saved.
So you can just
wow,
type it
technology.
In. Just type "I'm ready."
Just type.
If you
I'm
already
ready.
feel that you're being called to do this work,
just type "I'm ready"
on some level deeper than this challenge.
So if you type "I'm ready," we'll put you at the front of the list. We'll contact you first because the people who have this instant thing, like those, there's something magical about that. So last September, I accepted Jamie Skagen as one of my personal clients. She was pregnant, on the verge of homelessness, single mother of 3, soon to be 4, and working with her has been the biggest gift of my life. There is something, if there's someone who has taught me the epitome of no excuses, it's Jamie. As soon as she started working with me, she got her first paying clients. She found a new home, got an employee for her cleaning business, and she's stepping up into her personal power, just like owning herself as a powerful businesswoman and seeing miracles unfold for her. And for people that work with me, is one of the greatest gifts of being alive for me. I can't wait to see the miracles that come out of this week, out of the big decisions that are made. And I'm so grateful to do this challenge 3 times a year, even though it means exposing some of this stuff to strangers. Every time, you're not strangers anymore, but every time I share the story, it does take some massive courage, and it brings me to a new transformation, and I'm having it in front of all of you. And it takes some vulnerability to share it. And it used to make me a little bit nauseous, but it's become clear to me that the work I'm doing is bigger than me. I'm doing this for every single person here who wants to have the courage to step into their greatness, to be seen, to be heard, to let go of the ties that bind them. I'm doing this for every single person who's ready to be seen and heard and needs to borrow my courage. I'm doing this for every single person here who needs a leader who is courageous enough to do it first. So I'm doing this, guys, so you can unfuck yourself from the stuff that holds you down from having the life that you want. Who's ready to unfuck yourself? Yeah. So, yeah. Amazing, right? I fucking love my past so much because it has been the thing that allows me to do this work with you guys. And when I look back on it, I just feel grateful.
Mm-hmm. Me too. And it's a whole new level of intimacy doing this with the video on as well. Just like kind of re-experiencing this whole story and feeling it and having our faces be seen during the whole thing too. I mean, so yeah, guys, that everything that we're bringing to the table right now, this is our most authentic, our most vulnerable, our most truthful expression of why we're here. And you heard Kit's story today, but I also have a very similar story that I'll tell you guys another time. Both of us have had pasts that we are so grateful for, that we have unfucked ourselves from to get where we are today. So don't ever feel like you're too messed up, you're too beyond hope, you have too much against you, the odds are stacked against you. Don't ever feel that way. Just know that whatever darkness you have come from, there's always an opportunity to step into the light.
And on the flip side, don't ever feel like you're not fucked up enough to do this work. You're
too.
not like that. You haven't had enough pain to earn your joy.
Yeah.
Because, if there's anything that I want you all to know is that you don't have to hit a rock bottom for your life to be awesome. You can just make a deciding thing to let go of all this shit. Whatever it is that holds you back. So there's 2 reasons why people don't achieve what they want in their life.
Oh yeah. Just love that.
Can you tell I love what I do? Can you tell?
All these photos are from Magma, by the way, guys. If you don't know it, it's our live event. This is our most recent event in Berlin last October. Kim Marquez and Coach Natalie took photos. It was mostly Kim, and Natalie took photos on the last day and a half. So we have them to thank for these. So
you're wondering who these people are. We can't see the mouse.
Yeah,
that's okay. All right. So there's 2 reasons people don't achieve what they want in life. Are you guys kind of curious about that? It's that they haven't hit enough pain to have a reason to change, and staying comfortable is too convenient. That feeling of comfort is too juicy and too nice. So that, that discomfort that they have to kind of go through as they grow is just, no thanks. And they don't have a compelling enough vision that pulls them towards it. So you need a vision that is so important that you wake up with an intense desire to make it happen. On most days, I'm going to be honest, this doesn't happen every day, but most days, it's just so excited to make it happen. So when you have a vision problem, you quit. You make excuses, you don't get creative, you let things get in the way, and you won't be resourceful. Some people are motivated by pain, others are motivated by pleasure. Use your coach to help you discover what will drive you.
So let's get this straight right now. This challenge is here to give you value no matter what. We are here to make a difference in your life. You have an opportunity to put the shock paddles on you with this challenge and get the most of it. So I want you to type in the chat box. Earlier, We asked you, are you committed to this challenge? We asked you that yesterday. So I want to know, are you committed to this challenge? Are you committed to seeing 100% through? Even after we've turned the heat up, because it's going to get hotter. Don't worry, guys. Type in yes, type in 100%, whatever you want to type in. Yes, spicy, I'm committed. Awesome. 100.
So I see some of you saying, I don't know what my vision was. Borrow my first vision was just to live for me and stop giving a fuck. Like if that's your first vision, all of a sudden your bigger vision will come in because your higher self is finally like, you are ready to gestate this bigger vision. You are ready to receive it because you're not going to give a fuck what other people think about you. And that's what it's going to take to lean into it. So your first vision can be just living for yourself moment to moment to moment to moment.
Yes.
That can be a vision that will open doors for you.
All right, guys. So you ready to dive in? We're going to get into the deep stuff. And it's your turn to participate more now. It's not all about Kit and Rosie show. So you guys ready? Let's do this. We're going to expose something big right now.
So in order to make massive change in your life, it means creating massive awareness of the things that are holding you back, the things that you are doing.
So grab a pen and some paper, or you can just write in the chat box too. That's fine.
Pen and paper works too because you'll see it later.
Yeah.
Chat box is kind of.
It is great, actually, just as a little side, to keep a little notebook throughout this whole challenge, just to keep track of everything that you're learning about yourself. That's my recommendation. But anyway, we want you to think about right now all the negative ways of being that have caused you to be where you are today. So think about all the things that you might feel are holding you back, all of the ways of being. So I'll give you some examples. Spiteful, blaming, cranky, lazy, needy, self-sabotaging, perfectionist, not enough, procrastination. What are your negative ways of being?
Persnickety.
What's your automatic negative? Be real with yourself, guys. Be really authentic with yourself right now. It's not going to feel good, but write them down as fast as you can. Type them in the chat box.
Blaming my parents. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Wow. Perfectionism.
When I say this is amazing, because I really love people who are willing to take full ownership. Like, yeah. I'm just so in awe of you guys. Mm-hmm. Attack, blame.
We want to know, like, what's the one you want to hide the most right now? What's the one that is having the hardest time coming out of your pen or out of your fingertips?
You're like, gosh, I don't even
want
to.
Fear of rejection.
I want to pretend like this is not there. Mm-hmm. What is that one? Not smart enough, not worthy, never feeling good enough, martyrdom. Wow. Oh, good. Putting myself out there fully, perfectionism, wow. Guilt is mine.
Wow. So when you bring it out into the light and own it, it can start to be healed. Do you remember the Petri dish we talked about yesterday? When you put shame in a Petri dish, you add isolation, it grows. The shame grows. When you put shame in a Petri dish and you add vulnerability and connection, it disappears. So right now, this is your opportunity to bring whatever it is you feel shame about out into the light and let us hold you. Let the whole group hold you and support you and celebrate you.
Mine is needing approval.
Mm-hmm. Paranoia, avoidance of vulnerability. Wow. Judgment from others. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for sharing this with us today. So next, I want to show you this. How many of you guys know who Dr. Emoto is? How many of you heard of him? And if you haven't heard of him, type that in the chat box too. So Dr. Emoto was a Japanese scientist, researcher. He died a few years ago. And he did experiments with water, where he would take different bottles of water and he would tape labels on them and he would say things to them. And then he would freeze the water and take a look at the water molecules under a microscope. And as you can see, these are some of the photos from his experiments. So the water that he would say things to, like, thank you, things about wisdom, truth, eternity, peace. What do they look like? What do those water molecules look like? The beautiful ones. I love you. The kind ones. What do they look like? Snowflakes, coherence, sacred geometry. What else, guys? What do they look like? perfect structure, beauty, diamonds. Yeah, cute. Stars. Exactly, right? Now I want you to take a look at the water molecules towards the bottom of the screen, the ones that say you fool, you make me sick, evil, polluted water before prayer. Look at those. I want to ask you, what do those water molecules look like? Deformed, sick, shit, dark, dirty, empty, pain. I'm going to ask you guys, how many of you have ever seen what a cancer cell looks like? Which one of those looks like a cancer cell? Mm-hmm. Exactly. It's very relevant in the food we eat. Yeah. So taking this all in, I want you to consider right now that your body is 80% water, more or less. Your body is 80% water. Your body is made up of water molecules. And if you saying something to a bottle of water could affect the structure of that water that deeply, can you imagine how much what you're saying internally to yourself is affecting your body? How much of your time is spent on the automatic negative, beating yourself up, shaming yourself? How much of your water, what is it made of? If you were going to take your water and put it under a microscope, what would it look like? Yeah. Oh, fuck. Time for transformation. Many of us, and I know a lot of you guys are healers out there, many of us present all of the love that we carry inside of us and project it onto other people. We present the side of ourselves that is full of love for others, and we speak that love out loud. But when it comes to what we say to ourselves inside, it's a whole different scenario. Am I right? Yeah. Whew, deep breath, everybody. So who's ready to change their water for real this time? Who's ready to change it? It's time to step up. All right, you guys are in. So here's our first activity of the day. Not really the first, but this is going to be your first homework assignment. We're going to name our shadows. So our shadow self or our shadow side is a representation of what we're saying into our water. Okay, it's a representation of your automatic negative. It's that side of yourself that contains your trauma, your negative programming from different people in your life. It contains your shame. And so we're going to just refer to that as our shadow side or our shadow self for the rest of this challenge. Does that make sense? Are you guys with me? All right. So here's the cool thing about this work. We're going to name our shadow self, name our shadow side. And when you name it, you start to create an awareness around it. Okay. Who knows who's in this picture? Who is this sexy, beautiful shadow side in this picture? Yeah, it's David Bowie from Labyrinth. So in the movie Labyrinth, which is one of my favorite movies, he plays the Goblin King. Okay. And he's pretty evil. Like, he kidnaps a baby and then he tries to seduce a 16-year-old girl. And like, he has all these goblins that work for him. But here's the other thing. He's also pretty lovable. Am I right? Like, how could you not love David Bowie in a pair of leggings and all of that eyeshadow, those crazy eyebrows and that hair? Like, you gotta love it, right?
So this is the thing about naming your shadow is you want to name your shadow something that is lovable. Mm-hmm. Because if you name your shadow something like, who's that little turd from Game of Thrones?
Joffrey.
If you name it Joffrey, I don't know if anybody loves Joffrey. Like, everybody's just like, fuck that kid. If you name it something that creates more trigger like that, you're not going to want to see it. But if you name it something that is lovable, like we all love like David Bowie, you're like, oh, hey.
So his name in the movie was Jareth, in case you guys are wondering, Jareth, the Goblin King, if you're thinking that's my shadow side, right? So I want you to think about how is your shadow side represented? And coaches out there, if you have a shadow side, I want you to type in the chat box what the name of your shadow side is. Mine was the Jabberwocky, but I think now it's the Goblin King because this is just where I'm at. I've been looking for a new shadow side name. Kit?
I think I'm gonna get a new one too, but Hot Fart.
Okay. Hot Fart
was my shadow side.
Coach Kenna has Sir Shartsworth. Coach Audrey, her shadow side is called Rodney, lovingly. We've got Claude Frollo. Rumpelstiltskin.
I can't even like that. The things that name brings up for me.
You've got Smeagol. Smeagol is a great one because Smeagol from Lord of the Rings, you guys, you know, he was like Gollum, right? Smeagol was his original name. You can feel a load of empathy for Smeagol because it's not really his fault that the ring found him and turned him into this creature. And you can really like connect with him on that side where you actually like, you want to help him out a little bit. You want to love him a little bit, right? Dobby's a great one too. Okay, great. So you guys are getting this.
Eeyore's a good one.
Eeyore's an excellent one. Okay, so you guys are getting this. Awesome, great job. So this is your first homework assignment is to name your shadow side, describe its qualities.
Go slow on these. So name your shadow side, describe its qualities.
Okay, tell us what your shadow side has robbed you of.
What are all the things that you could have in your life right now if your shadow wasn't ruling?
Like
running the show.
Like for instance, I want to ask, Virginia was mentioning something in the comment section. Virginia loves to dress up like animals, like a squirrel or a sea turtle. She's made these amazing costumes. She's been my BFF for 20 years. She's on this challenge right now. We used to be roommates and she used to just dress up like a squirrel and go around and make these most amazing videos. And it was just like this pure representation of her spirit when she would dress up like an animal. She would, you know, and she said in the chat box earlier, she said, well, if I were more free and I didn't care what other people think of me, I would dress as an animal more often. So perhaps an example would be that Virginia's shadow side, one thing that it has robbed her of is not fully expressing herself and just dressing up like a squirrel when she wants to, right? That could be one thing that it's robbed you of, okay?
So tell us why you're ready to lovingly silence your shadow and be free and free yourself from its bondage.
Mm-hmm. And what is going to be possible when you stop listening to it?
That's the big piece. What is going to be possible when you stop listening to it?
You finally go, defeat that shadow, and then just stop listening to it. So you might want to take a screenshot of this. It's also going to be in the email we send out and in the pinned post when this webinar is over.
Now, just a reminder, use the hashtag when you post.
Shadow side.
No, the hashtag.
And the volcano hashtag.
Yeah,
Volcano Miracles Jan 2019.
Use that because that's how we raffle your raffle tickets. And if you don't use
that's how we raffle your raffles.
Raffle your raffle.
All right.
If we don't raffle your raffle with the hashtag, then you don't get the tickets, then you don't get the iPad.
All right, guys.
All right.
So you know what your shadow side is, or you're getting close. You might have to think about it, meditate on it a little bit. That's okay. Next, we're going to introduce you to your shadow goblins. All right.
So here's why. Because you can say all these things, you can write it down and blah, blah, blah. But until you take action against the shadow side, until you take action that defies the shadow, it's just going to keep running the show.
Yes. So, the shadow goblins so if you guys have seen the movie Labyrinth, the Goblin King, David Bowie, has all these cute, adorable little Jim Henson goblins working for him. They're like his henchmen. He's got hundreds of them. And they go out into the labyrinth and they just cause havoc. My dog is barking.
She's causing havoc.
She's causing havoc. This is the shadow goblins. So they go out into the labyrinth. The girl who's trying to get through the labyrinth, they tell her to go the wrong way, right? They distract her. They put shiny objects in front of her face. So she gets distracted from her journey, from her mission, which is to save the little baby, her baby brother. They just like pull pranks on her, right? And so the shadow goblins are like the little ways that your shadow side actually manifests into your life. So I'm going to give you some examples. So an example is that your shadow side is saying you're not good enough. And the way that manifests, the shadow goblin, the way it manifests is is that you don't take action on your business for 4 months. So picture David Bowie saying, "You're not good enough." And then there's you and the shadow goblin being like, "Yeah, I'm just going to sit here and not get that business license or make that Facebook page or reach out and get a client," right? So your shadow side is saying,
"You're unlovable.
You're unlovable." And the way it manifests in your life is that you don't have that important conversation that you need to have that reveals your true self to someone. Your shadow side is saying, "You're lazy and disorganized." And the way that manifests into your life is that you have a million junk drawers in your house where you don't know where anything is. And it takes you 30 minutes to find your keys in the morning. Your shadow side is saying,
You're not sexy.
And the way that manifests into your life is you don't allow yourself to fully let go with your partner and uptake pleasure. That's a big one. All right, your shadow side is saying, "You're not a real grown-up and you're irresponsible." And the way that manifests, the shadow goblin, the way that manifests in your life is you've got clothes all over your floor, your closet is a mess, you need to be watching some Marie Kondo, tidying up, right? Your house is just a mess. And you're like, "Man, I'm not a freaking real grown-up." Shadow side is saying, "You'll never find the right person for you." So the way that manifests is you settle with someone you're not passionately in love with. Your shadow side is saying, "You're broke. You'll never have enough money." And the way that manifests is that you have anxiety around money. You've got scarcity. You've got a parking ticket that you're afraid to pay because you don't have very much money. And yet that parking ticket keeps doubling every month.
You might even have enough money. You're just like,
"I don't want to give those parking people my money. I want to keep my money." Ooh. But now you owe them $300 instead of $30. Who's been there?
So by not paying that parking ticket, by not taking action on these things, you are keeping yourself bound by your beliefs that hold you down.
Individually, those little goblins are not that scary. You guys look at them. They're freaking cute, right? They're just like, me. They're just like little pranks here and there, right? They're not that scary. But when they add up, they actually just start to ruin your life, right? And they like, imagine 50 or 100 of them surrounding you, holding you down, pulling you down. They really start to hold you back. So here's the thing.
When they team up with your shadow side, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And you might catch yourself saying, yeah, but. But
it's true.
Yeah, but it's true. Yeah, but it's true. Yeah, but, trans people right now, we're not safe. We're not safe in this world.
Or the area I live in, I will never be able to do the things I really want to do because I live in this particular area of the world or the country.
Or, yeah, but I'm a woman. Yeah, but I'm pregnant. Yeah, but I'm
a single mom of 3, almost 4 kids, and I'm about to be homeless.
Yeah, but.
So many yeah, but stories. So the goblins and your shadow side work hand in hand.
And it becomes true because you are doing things to reinforce it to be true.
Mm-hmm. So every time you see your clothes all over the floor, aka the goblin, your shadow pipes up and subconsciously plants seeds of doubt in your ability to be an adult, causing you to say, yeah but it's true. It's true.
Or
I'm not an adult.
You're hanging out with people who reaffirm your beliefs.
Yeah. So they will use anything and everything to affirm your negative beliefs about yourself in tiny, subtle ways to avoid the temporary discomfort of changing.
So here's the big nugget that we want you to take home. Yeah, but it doesn't have to be true. Today, you get to become unbound.
Today, you get to just unbind those little goblins from you. Are you guys ready for that?
It takes focusing on a vision of what could be true so much that it becomes the new truth. Like the great minds in this world, Albert Einstein, people thought he was crazy for the longest time because they couldn't see what he saw, but what he saw was something bigger. It's focusing on the vision.
So we want you to think, oh, that picture's terrible, guys, but you can see it's a bunch of chains. They're all tangled up. We want you to think about yourself like that looked fine last night. I just didn't see it big. You want to think about yourself like a handful of knotted necklaces, okay? When you look at the bunch of necklaces tied together, you don't say, they're ugly and worthless because they're tied up in knots, right? You know that they're just a little bound up, And it just takes a gentle tug here and a gentle tug there, and eventually they're unbound, they're unwound. You're the same. So if you take a look at yourself and you say, I'm lazy because you haven't gotten up and done anything, it's not true. We all have the inherent ability to be badasses. And just because we're bound up by thoughts and patterns doesn't mean that we're doomed for life. Okay? It takes consistent, gentle, loving tugs in a new direction to unbind you.
So we're going to give you a process to make the unbinding fun, gentle, and easy. And this is going to be part of your homework.
All right, so more homework. You guys ready? Don't worry, we'll review this. It's all going to be posted later, but I would take a screenshot or write this down. So make a list of your goblin army. Everything that is weighing you down that you need to take care of. Parking tickets, junk drawers, having that difficult conversation, calling that person whose spouse just passed away, right? Making that phone call. What else? Going to get your eyes checked because your prescription is old and you're squinting all the time. Right?
Dumping your boyfriend or girlfriend.
Those little things that are adding up and slowing you down and weighing you down. The Christmas tree, the Halloween pumpkins,
the Easter eggs. Stinking up your backyard. Last year,
disgusting.
Our neighbors had a pumpkin in their yard for like 6 months. And then a Christmas tree joined it. And that stayed for a while.
Yeah.
I love that.
Right. So
like shadow goblins right there.
Identify the biggest one, you guys. Identify the biggest goblin. Find the biggest, most challenging one.
The most biggest challenging goblin. The one that you're avoiding the most. The one that you're saying, oh, that's not a really big. The one that you don't want to do. Mm-hmm. So you're going to begin today taking care of these goblins. But we've developed a fun and easy way to do this. How many of you are saying are going to do something that you don't want to do? How many of you say, I don't know what that, I can't read that sentence. Okay, let me try again. How many of you say you're going to do something and then you don't do it? You're like, I'm going to do this, then you don't do it. I'm going to do this, and you don't do it. How many of you have done that before? Okay, so it's because your brain likes to feel good. You would go on Facebook when you want to be getting your webinar slides done for the Get Your Shit Together challenge, because the dopamine reward on Facebook is instant and certain. It wants to feel good before it's willing to feel uncomfortable. So to creatively and playfully overcome this, we've gamified this process so that you can feel good and happy and joyful and move in that direction instead of seeing the like, oh, this is uncomfortable and avoiding it. So first, you're going to write a list of your goblin list. Pay the parking ticket, beat the rug out, vacuum behind the couch where all the pet hair collects, organize my drawers, send the email to my list, reach out to an old friend, dump my boyfriend, whatever it is. Every task on your list, then you're going to break it down into tiny tasks. For every task on your list, you'll break it down into tiny tasks. You get 1 point for every tiny task within a big task, so that you can squeak the most dopamine out of this process. So you get 1 point, 1 raffle ticket for every tiny ticket. You're going to milk it. So here's what it might look like. I need to pay the parking bill. Start, put some music on, pump yourself up. This goes for any task, no matter what you're doing, to get the good chemicals flowing in your brain. There should be music in your house all week long. So 1 point, find the parking ticket, celebrate, yay. 2 point, get another point. Find your wallet, celebrate, yay. Another point, open your computer, celebrate, yay. Another point, punch in the numbers, celebrate, yay. Another point, do the damn thing, celebrate, yay. Now these points translate to raffle tickets, like iPads and shit. But here's a caveat. You only get the points when the job is fully done. Okay? Repeat after me. I only get the points when the job is fully complete. These points add up to nothing until your task is complete. Y'all got that? All right. So who's like...
Can you guys imagine how many points you could get? How many iPads you could win?
Just one iPad.
There's just one iPad to win. But
just so you know.
How many times your name could get in that raffle drawing? Man, I'm going to go make a big list, even though we can't win any prizes.
All right. Who wants the pot to be sweeter? Who wants to sweeten this up a little bit? So there's one more bonus. You get double the points for your biggest goblin. For example, dump the boyfriend.
Ooh.
All right. 2 points. Formulate something to text to him. 2 points. Text him. Set a time to talk. 2 points. Confirm it. 2 points. The back and forth. 2 points. Drive to meet him. 2 points. Wait for him to show up. Notice how you're really squeaking the dopamine and being like, I just got a point for that. I've got another point.
2 points.
I'm doing good. 2 points for giving myself a point. Like, squeak it, guys. Really get the dopamine out of it. Like, really, really milk it. Milk it. Wait for him to show up. 2 points. Do the damn thing. Once the damn thing is done, you officially get to add all of your points to your tally and celebrate yourself. Pat yourself on the back. Tell yourself you're awesome. So, how to submit the points. Make a Facebook post in the GYST. Get your shit together. January 2019 Facebook page listing all the little tasks and all of your points. Every finished task needs its own post. Use the hashtag Volcano Miracles Jan 2019. We have someone tracking your points. So these posts can all go all the way through to the end of the challenge. You can continue to rack up goblins and points. So this is about rewiring your brain so that taking care of your goblins in this way is something that you do for the rest of this challenge, so that it becomes a habit that you start to enjoy these things and you start to celebrate yourself and you feel good doing these things. So you stop avoiding them. And here's what you're going to do. Use your Patronus to defeat the goblins and take action on some of these goblins today. It may take a different Patronus for a different thing. Like for paying the parking ticket, you might have to remember that time when you paid it all in the last challenge and you're like, that felt really good. I'm still proud of myself for that. Then you go and you do it. So action within the first 24 hours of your ideas will create the fastest and best results. Mm-hmm. So as soon as you get the idea to do something, start to list it out and chunk it down.
All right, guys. So I need to just chime in right now. It's 8:27. We might go over about 5-10 minutes today. Just want to make sure that's okay. We got a couple more things to cover with you guys. We really want to make sure you get it all. So thank you so much. And yeah, don't worry. It's going to be good. So now we're going to scale it out and show you how this is going to add up over time. Little things add up over time to big things. When you look at the new you 6 months from now, what will change because you change your way of being? Write down all the new ways of being that you need to focus on in order to get where you want to be. All the things that you want your water to be made up of that it's maybe not quite 100% made up of right now. Okay, so what do you want to be saying into your water? Do you want to be saying words like confident, certain, faithful, loving, kind, generous, diligent,
happy? Every single way that you treat yourself. That's the most important thing. This is how you treat yourself first.
Write it down. Type it in the chat box. What are the words that you want to say into your water? Give us some examples, you guys.
Talented.
Sexy. Confident, calm, responsible. Awesome. I love it. Totally got it. So guys, guess what? We're introducing you right now to your wiser self. So you've got your shadow self, you've got your wiser self. All right. Now you get to name your wiser self. So the wiser self, when you think about naming your wiser self, it's not quite like naming your shadow self. You want to think of a name that feels powerful to you. You want to think of a name that has meaning to you, something that you've always looked up to. Maybe it's your grandmother's name. Maybe it's like Tawanda, maybe it's like Beatrix from Kill Bill. I mean, she's pretty badass. That's what came to my mind for some reason. You want to really think about a name that you can call on when you're feeling stuck that's going to help you come out and handle the situation, especially if you might get stuck defeating your goblin army, right? Going through all these little tasks and you might feel like, oh, I can't do this. That's the time to call in your wiser self. So we've got Layla, Helen Mirren, Jesus, perfect. Pearl, Frida, awesome. We've got goodbye, good luck, Reagan. That's a good wiser self name. Bye, Reagan. All right, Zelda, that's perfect, you guys. It's really, really good. Keep going on those.
So who you believe you are, you will become. What you believe will happen, will happen. We've got this amazing story about my dear friend Nancy. she was diagnosed
with leukemia.
And it's like a rare childhood form of leukemia, and she's not a child. So when she got diagnosed with this, she's like, I'm going to use this as an opportunity to reframe my mind and tell new stories about everything. And so when she got her chemo, she's like, this is actually like rocket fuel. This is like magically healing.
Freedom and miracles in a bag.
Freedom and miracles in a bag. When she got blood transfusions, it was the blood transfusions of like rocket scientists and handsome men and angels and all of this stuff. And she never lost her hair. And all this work she was doing, just staying positive in the face of cancer.
Yeah.
This is something that she was supposed to be in the hospital for, 6 to 12 weeks. She was released in 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So she essentially created her own reality. She created her own mindset. She created her own story about
the face of
the treatment process.
Terrible.
In the face of something really terrible. And the doctors were just astounded. They were like, I don't know what to tell you. She put crystals in her room and rainbow colored quilts. And she really just had the most positive mindset ever when it came to this. And again, she got released within 2 weeks. So there's a lot more to Nancy's story than that. I wish we could spend more time on it, but maybe we can tell you guys a little bit more about it.
She's in our book that we just released. So
yeah.
That's how you can definitely contact her.
She's on the Active Volcano family too on our Facebook group. So she's amazing. She posts all the time. All right. So how did we get from the yoga studio in Asheville to here? It started with the same thing. It started with this massive mindset shift. We took the plunge. We began to choose our thoughts and our emotions. We got resourceful. We got decisive, and we just made that decision and went for it. We hired a coach
who could spot us on the things that were so automatic we didn't even realize they were getting in the way.
Yeah.
And the shame of admitting we needed help was so much better than repeating the same mistakes again. So we were like, fuck it, let's just do it.
And guys, you got to remember, we hired a coach when we were like living in a van, buying groceries on credit cards. It was a scary decision, but it was this thing that we knew we needed to do to make that next leap in our life. And it was for sure 100% the best thing we could have done.
So we're going to give you one more visual for when you guys are getting ready to take a leap on something big. You've got these monkey bar people.
Yeah.
Monkey bar people versus trapeze people. So the monkey bar people have no faith in making changes. They are moving through life on monkey bars. They're always holding on to something, and there's no way to make room for something new because you're like moving on the same structure. The bar is the same. It's all connected to the same energy. They're always holding, they make decisions out of fear and scarcity. They say things like, I want to know if I'm going to like this before I do it.
I don't want to leave one boyfriend before I have another one lined up.
I don't want to be nice to you until you're nice to me.
These are the kind of people that need assurance that their choices are going to pay off before they make them because they haven't cultivated certainty and confidence internally. They look for external motivation or affirmation.
I'm not going to show that I'm into this until someone else shows it first.
So guys, who can relate to being a monkey bar person? You know what happens with them? Yeah, they don't follow their heart. No matter how hard they try to line up something new, nothing changes. They stay the same when they're not willing to let go and free fall a little bit in faith, like the trapeze artists.
These are people that even when it's scary, they let go of their old ways and they take the first step knowing it will work out.
They're okay being single.
They're okay showing their love to someone as a courageous act.
They're okay taking risks.
They make decisions and then they make them right.
They're willing to lead even if they're afraid or unsure.
They don't need validation from others.
They have an internal guidance system that they can rely on.
And they're willing to develop a relationship with.
So what happens to trapeze people?
Life changes rapidly.
Life can change pretty quickly. All right, so now we've got our very own trapeze artist, Coach Audrey. So funny. She's in our webinars like a million times, but she has the best stories. So this was when she first started working with us, first started learning how to be a coach. She was in scarcity. She didn't believe in herself, and she had gone out and gotten literally 5 jobs. She was like a marketing manager at a rock climbing gym. She had 2 or 3 different bartending/restaurant jobs. She, I don't even remember what else she was doing. She was doing some cake making on the side or something like that.
And she was putting herself into debt with 5 jobs. She was working 80 hours a week.
and trying to do this coaching work at the same time. And she had no faith in herself. She also had this $1,000 credit card debt that she just kept putting off and putting off and putting off because she was in so much scarcity. And she was putting off her real vision, which her vision was huge at the time, was to open a restaurant in exchange for something comfortable and familiar. She had the money to pay it off. This is the crazy thing, guys. She had the money to pay it off. But for her, being broke means not saving. So she was resisting paying off this credit card. The interest was piling up, and she was just keeping herself in fear and scarcity. She would rather be in that state than take the leap and clear what was draining her energy, clear that shadow goblin, right? That $1,000 credit card bill. So after a big 2-hour-long coaching session with her, the three of us, we were just like, Audrey, I mean, it was intense. There was a lot of tears. It was powerful. By the end, she had decided to take the leap. She quit 3 of her jobs, just went and paid off the credit card, was just like, all right, I have the money now. I'm just going to do it. Just get it over with, right? Even if it means I'm going to feel a little scarce for a while. And then she gets up after paying off the credit card. She gets up from her computer and she goes over to the bookshelf and picks out a book that was like one of her mom's favorites. And she pulls this book out. She opens it up and she finds an envelope with $1,000 in it.
Right?
Boom. So
instant return.
This is just an example, you guys. We're not saying that you're going to find a book with $1,000 in it, but we're saying that when you are willing to take that leap that you're scared to take because you're so convinced that it's better to stay in fear or scarcity, and you're so afraid to take that leap, when you're finally ready to take it and just trust and have faith that things are going to work out, the universe will reward you. I promise.
And faith means being able to do it without freaking out and needing instant gratification that it paid off.
Yeah.
If you need instant gratification and you're like, see, it didn't work, that means you're not really in faith.
Yeah, that's true. So who's inspired to tackle something massive with this challenge, something that takes a big burst of faith and gets massive results? You guys ready? All right.
I'm going to give you your homework one last time. Just list it out so you guys have it. You're going to name your shadow side. Describe its qualities. Tell us what your shadow has robbed you of. Tell us why you're ready to lovingly unbind yourself from your shadow. What is going to be possible when you stop letting it run the show? Post this in the Facebook group. Then you'll make a list of your shadow goblin army, everything that's weighing you down that you need to take care of. Identify the biggest one, the most challenging goblin that you are avoiding the most. And give yourself points for each little task that you get done within the big tasks. Give yourself double the points for the biggest goblin. Bonus celebration. We love before and after photos. And if you post them, we'll probably be like, yeah, comment on it. We love seeing them. Tasks must be completed to receive raffle tickets. Use the hashtag Volcano Miracles Jan 2019 for all of your posts, because you get 1 point for all of your posts no matter what. And then when you list your points out, you'll get more too.
And if you post on your personal timeline, make sure the post is set to public and you get double the points. So you can double your double points if you post on your public timeline.
Alyssa Hannon is a genius at this. She always uses the hashtag and she always wins.
She always wins.
All right. Third homework, wiser self. Name them. Name their qualities. Start developing a way to call up your wiser self. Give them a symbol or how they communicate with you. Chills up your spine. If you're a visual person, maybe you get a flash in your mind's eye. Free writing, meditation. For a while, I had this little thing going with my wiser self that I would attract dimes, like two dimes in one place. And if I had 2 dimes are in one place, it was just this affirmation of like me being on the right track. Start developing a 2-way communication between you and your wiser best self. All right, guys.
So Sarah had a question. She says, is it a raffle or most tickets wins? Yes, that's how raffles work, right? So the more raffle tickets you get in the pot, the more chances you have of winning. All right. So little reminder, T-shirt Inception, guys. First team to win, everybody on that team gets 10 raffle tickets. So we'll be checking that throughout the day. If you have completed your T-shirt Inception, make a post that says T-shirt Inception complete.
Show all the levels.
All the levels of Inception in the post. So get all the photos in one big post and just tag us, tag Nicole, use the hashtag.
And here's the thing about T-shirt Inception. Everybody in this challenge was enrolled by somebody else here. We don't do Facebook ads. We are all organic growth. We're all referral. So somebody here probably knows the person that you can't find.
Yes, exactly. So if you're asking where to find the person that's not on Facebook, either they will confirm that they're not participating or someone on the group knows them. So you make a post or just reach out to a few people and get resourceful. Okay.
Oh, Grace
You
Wise
guys
says
got
Team
it.
19 is complete. We'll have to see this. Tag us.
All right. Yeah, guys. Awesome. All right, guys. So thank you so much for coming to the webinar today. We love you guys. We are just falling in love with all of you, and we appreciate you so much. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning at 7 a.m., 6:50 if you want to have a pre-challenge dance party. And good luck with your shadow selves today. Good luck with your shadow goblins.
I know that you guys are going to tackle some stuff that has been keeping you bound down for a while. Use this as an opportunity to go after that thing, even to stalk and find that thing.
Yeah. All right. We will see you so soon.
Bye.
Bye.